Welcome back to the Charlotte Adi channel where I help you fulfill your potentials. And we've been going through a couple of topics to get you closer to your dream job. So we've done CVs, we've done job applications, and this time, this is my favorite topic, interviews. I love interviews. I love talking about interviews, and that's what we're covering today. So congratulations if you've gotten through your CV stage, gotten through your job application stage, and you're probably watching this video because you need to prepare for an interview. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know, there are nerves there, which is fine. We're going to talk about them. It's good to use your nerves and actually put it into work. And that's what this video is for. So I'm going to teach you how to answer interview questions like a pro. And the first thing I want to address is the fact that interviewing is actually an art. There's an art to interviewing. A lot of people come into the interview and just think they're just going to chat. They're so good. They're just going to show up and just talk. Good luck. Most of the time, it actually shows across when you're not prepped for an interview. And there is an art to having a conversation about yourself and how to present yourself and how to be concise, how to hit the notes that the hiring manager is looking for or the recruiter is looking for while still having a conversation. So there is an art to it. That being said, there is no one that is perfect. Interviewers are not perfect. Hiring managers are not perfect. Recruiters are not perfect. I'm not perfect in any way. I don't show up as my full self every time I'm interviewing. So you have to bear that in mind. There are also biases, unconscious biases that people have when you're interviewing. There's also factors like the time of the day or just having a bad day. We're human beings. So there's no perfect interview, which means there's no perfect interviewer and there is no perfect interviewee. So that being said, I just want you to have that back of your mind and just relax. It's only a conversation. I love interviews. Like I said, I love interviews. I'm happy to be interviewed. I'm happy to interview anyone. Call me, I'm ready. We're ready to go. But that came with time. I wasn't always like this. When I first started interviewing, the way I'm sweating now to record this video, that's how I used to sweat. Yeah. I used to sweat bullocks for my interviews. I remember there was one time, I was literally just telling her, I was saying to her that I don't sweat. The only time I sweat is when I had nerves. I had this interview and I just finished uni. The marks on the dress, oh no, it was getting bad. I sweated my armpits away. TMI, but it's just the truth. But it took time with practice. It is where I've gotten to where I am now and the confidence that I have now in interview, which I'm hopeful to take you guys, across that journey and making you feel more confident and teaching you the art of interviewing. Now, 50% of an interview actually has to do with the prep behind the interview or before the interview. And this is where a lot of people lack, should I say, or make their mistakes. Again, they don't really prep. They just scroll through the websites maybe 20 minutes before the interview. Let me even see what they're about. Quickly go back to the job description. Even not. They don't even go through their CV and they just show up at the interview. Hi, hello. You're asking questions and R's are fine, but your content and quality actually matters. So 50% of an interview actually happens at the back end when you've prepped for it. So in this video, I'll be teaching you how to prep for an interview in different parts. Now, the first part when you're prepping for an interview is to think about the introduction. Like I said, through this series, we're all thinking like a recruiter. If you remember, I said something in the very first episode. Human beings have a very short attention span. And according to Korn Ferry, on average, within your first 7 minutes, hiring managers have made a decision about you. Yeah, I know that sounds bad. It's not ethically right, should I say, or it's not what I'll say is a good way to judge an interview. But the truth is, we're all humans and we all have biases, and we have that first impression bias. And this is why your introduction has to be spot on. Your first 7 minutes in an interview, you have to kill it. There's no other way. You have to kill it. So when you're prepping, you have to think about your introduction and how you want to present yourself. Most times, an interview will start off with, "Can you tell me about yourself?" Omo, that's it. This is your time to shine. And when you're prepping, this is what I would like you to think about. I need you to think about your storyboarding and your storytelling. What do you want to tell about yourself? What do you want to say about yourself that best positions you for that job? And that is why you have to storyboard your introduction in terms of your prep prior to the interview. And how do you do that? Of course, you write your name down. You literally write your name, in your notes. Write your name down, what your current role is, and then summarizing key highlights. Key, emphasis on key. We don't need you to give us a history lesson around your experience. We already have your CV. So key highlights of your past experiences, but you have to think through the job description and what they're possibly looking for in the role. And then highlight 2 things, probably in each position on each project, that were your wins and your impact in relation to the job and what they're looking for. Write that down. And then finally end with your motivations for the role. So this is why I'm interested in the role. So hi, my name is Charlotte Ade. I'm a current global talent acquisition partner, and my past experiences, I've been able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am interested in this role because ... That is how clean and concise your introduction has to be. Also, please remember to come into the interview saying hi, saying hello, being warm, being friendly. Again, if you're a recruiter and someone comes into the room and they're already stiff, "Hi, yeah, my name is Charlotte. Yeah, thanks for letting me." I have so many, trust me, hilarious encounters, and I know it's nerves. So I just calm the person down and let them know we're having a conversation. So if you're having a conversation with someone, you come in very warm and very friendly. You will put the nerves of the person interviewing down, and so will you put your own nerves down by coming in, being warm, smiling, being friendly, and introducing yourself. "Thank you for inviting me." And then of course they will start off with, "Can you tell me about yourself?" And then that is where you give them that intro with the highlight that I just talked about. And this is why you have to prep for the interview prior to time. The second part is technical questions. You have to ensure to prepare for the questions by writing out all possible questions. Yes, I know that's tedious. But when I speak to potential candidates and people that I've coached in the past, you really actually have to sit down and write any possible question that could be asked regarding that position and regarding that role. Because you want to be able to think through your past experiences and how you want to posture your story and telling them about your impact and why you're fit for the role. So this is where I'll utilize AI in putting the job description into the AI and then asking the AI to produce questions that could possibly come up in your interview so that you can prepare for those questions. In the next episode, I'll be going over popular questions that I asked. I'm just walking through them quickly. But ideally, you should be able to sit down and then answer those questions using the STAR method, which is talking through the situation, the task, the action, and the result of each question that is being asked, whether it's teamwork, whether it's an actual technical question. You should be able to talk about what the situation was, what you did, and then what the outcome was. That way you're able to show that you're clear, you're concise, you're able to articulate yourself, you're confident, you know what you're talking about, especially when you know what you're talking about. and your competence for the role. The next tip I will give is researching the company. And this is where, again, we're still talking on prep. You have to research the organization. Look, at the end of the day, if you owned an organization or a company, you would want someone to be interested in your organization. You want to show that they've done some level of research into that organization and want to work with you, and that they are passionate and aligned with the missions of the organization. That is why it's important to research the organization, and you take that step in terms of several parts in terms of your research. So the first one is understanding the company's products and services. Obviously, most websites, organizations, you see about us page, what we do, our solutions, what we provide. You need to click on that tab and understand, take notes and understand what they actually do, because it will be useful in your interview and it will come up. Because another question that is always asked, why do you want to work here? So you have to be able to, one, demonstrate that you understand what they do, understand the solutions and products that they provide, and how this links to what you want to do and what you're motivated to do. So I would say, one, understand the products and services, write your notes on that. Two is the values, the culture, any CSR initiative or SDG initiatives that they have, you have to write it down and link it to how your values or your culture resonates or aligns with that, or their SDG initiatives or CSR initiatives. You have to think through them and write through them and how that aligns with you. Three is to research any recent news about the organization, something that they've recently done. An easy way to do this is to go to LinkedIn and check their recent post. Most times, any article, white paper, announcement, news about the organization will be there. Or secondly, when you Google the organization, click on the news tab, you should see recent news about the organization and what the company has been up to. Again, it shows your motivation around the organization and why you want to work there. And they will show that, they'll be able to see that this person has done their research. Like, this person isn't just a surface candidate who is just interested in speaking. And I'll say the last step is to ask questions. List down questions you want to ask the interviewer. It's important to go into the interview prepped with some questions you already have for the interviewer. Most times, I'll say, when they're inviting you for an interview, usually they will share with you the name of the person interviewing you. And even if they don't, that is fine. If they do, though, I would say go do some research into the person. Check what they do on their company website or on LinkedIn. See how long they've worked there. So you can ask them questions that is quite conversational around their experience there. In the next episode, I'll also be talking through and sharing with you questions that I think that are good to ask at the end of your interview. But you should go in prepped with a list of questions for the interviewers as well. It shows, again, you're interested, you're curious, you're engaged, you're interested in working there. So it's a very, very good sign. It's a green light, it's a green flag when you have questions for the interviewer. Now, with all the tips that I've given today, please remember to stay authentic. It's weird when someone comes into an interview and you're just reading off the script. Remember to be authentic, prepare. Preparing should not make you a robot. It's very obvious when you have your screen in front of you, for instance, and you're having a virtual interview and you're just reading off the script. It's not authentic. It doesn't show personality. I don't really know much about you. So your notes and your prep is just to get you thinking and get you to think through what you're actually going to be saying. However, when you get to the interview, please don't read off notes. Show up, be authentic, be yourself, show a bit of your personality, let them know who you are. Because let me tell you something, a sitting next to factor is very important. Whoever is interviewing you wants to be able to imagine that you're sitting next to them in the office and like they can be your teammate. So that is a factor that goes on in the back of your mind when someone is interviewing you, the hiring manager, the recruiter. Can I work with this person? Can they sit next to me and I'll be comfortable? So you have to have that in mind. Like, be someone that someone wants to be around or someone wants to be with. And obviously smash your technical questions. And if you don't know, I would say the best way to approach a question where you really don't know the answer to is to pause and say, to be honest, I'm actually not sure about this answer, but if I were to answer it, here's what I would say. That way it shows integrity and it shows authenticity. So now we've come to the end of the video, and if you've made it this far, I want to say a huge thank you. Thank you for journeying with me in this journey. And as I always say, if you know anyone going through a journey where they are also trying to apply for jobs or just refresh their memories, maybe they've just been in a job for a very long time and they need a refresher, a recruiter sister that can help them out, send them this link, send them their way. If you've gone through interviews and haven't been successful and never heard back, I'm hopeful that you're able to pick up one or two things from this video. Please don't be discouraged. I understand. I know interviews are daunting, especially when you've put in a lot of efforts. You've prepped, you've done everything that I have even said in this video, and still you didn't get the call back. Remember what I said initially. It's more complicated than you think in the back end. Organizations are imperfect, human beings are imperfect, and sometimes the place is just not right for you, to be quite frank. So you have to trust your journey, trust that God has something for you and that it will show up. People that want to work with you and find you likable will select you to be a part of their team. So thanks again. Thank you for your time. Please like, please subscribe. If you have any questions, again, my details are in the description box and a link if you want to drop your email for me to contact or just be in touch with. And I'll see you next weekend. Thank you.